Hi, I got a question about how to answer the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame questions from Chapter 3, Section 1. And so I'm going to walk through the first one. So here it is. It's looking at gender in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. From its founding in 2012, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has inducted 273 groups or individuals. 41 of the inductees have been female or included female members. The full data set is available in Rock and Roll. We can either click for the data set or click to access stat key. So the first question says to give the notation of the proportion of inductees who have been performers. And I think that this is a little bit of a typo. I think they really want to know the proportion of inductees who have been female. But in any case, since we have a population that we're interested in and we're looking for a proportion, we need the notation for a population proportion. So it's going to be P. So I'm going to click, and I'm going to pull P down and put that in the box. Okay. The next part asks what proportion of inductees have been female or have included female members, and I need to round my answer to 3 decimal places. Okay, so let's see. I can see that there have been 41 out of the 273, so I'm going to calculate the proportion by dividing. 41 divided by 273 on my calculator, I get 0.150183, so on. So rounded to 3 decimal places, this is going to be 0.150. Okay, so there's my answer. Now, if we took many samples of size 50 from the population of all inductees and recorded the proportion female or with female members for each sample, what shape do we expect the distribution of the sample proportions to have? And where do we expect it to be centered? Now, a distribution of sample proportions is a sampling distribution. And as we talked about in class, the sampling distribution will be shaped, mound-shaped, and so symmetrical and bell-shaped when we have a sample size that's large enough, and 50 should be large enough. Also, it should be centered at the true value of the population parameter. So in this case, we know that in truth, 0.150 is the proportion that have had a female member or been female. So it should be centered there. So I am going to enter that as my answer, 0.150. And the shape should be symmetric and bell-shaped. Now, if I was not sure about that, or if I just want to check my answers before I submit them, I can use stat key to check this. If I click on stat key and then make my window a bit bigger. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to look at the sampling distribution since I'm working with proportion. It'll be for a proportion. Now, I think this is one of the examples that's entered in already for us. Yep, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, female. So we can see that we have the correct proportion over here, 0.15. And it's already set up to choose samples of size 50. So I can just generate a whole bunch of samples and just see where they're centered and what shape the distribution has. Okay, so there is my sampling distribution, and I can see that it is basically pretty mound-shaped. And it's not quite symmetrical, but it's fairly symmetrical. And that it is, in fact, centered here right around our true value of the population parameter, which is 0.15. So that answer looks like it is, in fact, correct. So I'm going to close up this window from stat key, and I'm going to submit my answer. I submit my answer, and it's correct. There we go. So really, you don't actually need stat key to answer these questions. We should be able to answer them based on what we know about sampling distributions, but if we want to, we can investigate a little bit with stat key. I hope this helps. Have a good night.